Hello, my name is Luz, and this is Luz Detecta, our channel dedicated to uncovering truths through forensic science, pedagogy, and criminology. Understanding crime goes beyond the work of detectives. It serves as an avenue for education, prevention, and positive transformation. Welcome to Luz Detecta, where we delve into crime with a conscience, exploring the origins and impact of criminalistics. Have you ever pondered how the science of crime analysis came to fruition? Fingerprints, vital fluid, weapon projectiles, of fire or even silence at a crime scene. We welcome this one. This space is dedicated to explaining crime through the lens of science. Today's episode of Luz Detecta uncovers the beginnings of criminalistics worldwide, tracing back to the early investigative practices in ancient China, until modern advances that gave shape to this science. We will also see how it arrived and evolved in Mexico. From its deeply intriguing origins, criminalistics has evolved into an intricate discipline with fascinating developments. This transformation began when medical research sought answers to societal needs for understanding causes of I died inspecting injuries and wounds. Buzz for that. Be able to determine why a person lost their life. Lex Carolina and the beginning of forensic medicine in the 16th century, violent crimes were not only punished. In 1532, Emperor Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire introduced a law that would fundamentally redefine how society approached serious crimes and their consequences. Body and justice. The Lex Carolina, this legislation not only. It defined punishments for serious crimes. I was much more there, he commanded, than in cases of violent deprivation of life. The judges, they should consult to the barber surgeons so that examinaran el body without life and will determine the cause of death. Thus, for the first time in Europe, medicine was obliged by law to intervene in the criminal investigation. This provision, it marked a milestone. Legal medicine was born as an institution and as an auxiliary of justice. It wasn't yet advanced science, yet it marked the early journey toward uncovering the truth, steering away from mere hearsay and legends ever since. The lifeless body was no longer just evidence of the crime. To become key witness of the process. Regarding judicial matters, the notion of death began to emerge in articulate understanding and discourse. And the science began to listen. Although the word criminalistics is modern, the need to investigate crimes exist since human beings began to organize in society. In ancient China, during the Tang Dynasty, they were already documented cases in which fingerprints were used to solve legal conflicts. The first forensic treaty of which there is a record is Sonse Juan Louso el Lavado de Written Injustices, in the 13th century, for Sansi. In Mesopotamia, the Babylonians recorded serious crimes on tablets of clay, and they used witnesses and physical evidence, however primitive, to dictate sentences. The Egyptians, for their part now, they were conducting body inspections. In cases of suspicious deaths, this show a medical vision and religious analysis of the lifeless body. And in classical Greece and Rome, trials include expert testimony, and in some cases, they consider themselves physical evidence, fire artifacts, remains or wounds. All this tells us something. The search for truth, even against serious crimes, is as old as civilization itself before science. The truth was already sought. Criminalistics was not born out of the nothing is. It formed over centuries of trial and error and observation, long before there were scientific laboratories. But were you truly aware of this crucial aspect? Early criminalists used footprints, barefoot in the mud or using clay to decipher clues. Europe transitioned from classical grandeur into an era where justice evolved over centuries. It rested on faith more than science. Ordeal trials, forced confessions, and the court. Ecclesiastical were the ones who dictated the sentence, but even in that gloom they were gestated, sparks of medical curiosity. In 1315, Mondino de Liuzzi realized the first examination of a publicly documented lifeless body. His scalpel. He dissected not just physical flesh but conventional beliefs, as the 15th century Renaissance illuminated the path forward. Observación. Leonardo da Vinci, he dissected bodies to draw, with surgical precision, and Andreas Vesalius dismantled anatomical myths, inherited from da Vinci. These pioneers, they weren't after criminals. However, Da Vinci's method of documentation, through precise observation and meticulous recording, laid the groundwork for modern forensic science. Felony was about to cease to be a matter of faith. Did you know that forensics, as a concept, originated not in a sterile lab as one might assume, but in the bustling public squares of ancient civilizations? The word forensic derives from the Latin term forensis, meaning pertaining to the public forum or court, to the forum. And what was the forum in ancient Rome? The forum was the center of public and political life, a large esplanade surrounded by temples, government buildings and courts. There was not only trade or political debate here.
They were also judged.
Victims, the hearings were.
Public with.
Speakers, accused lawyers, and citizens participated as witnesses, ensuring justice was carried out through their involvement. Face-to-face discussions took place among the people and the Senate over extended periods, leading to the adoption of the term forensics. Stop it. Refer to everything that has to do with the investigation and presentation of evidence in a trial. That's why. Today we talk about forensic medicine, forensic psychology, forensic linguistics, and of course, forensic criminalistics. Because all that knowledge has a final destination, the court administer. Justice at that time, punishments, or sanctions. They were corporal, flogging, mutilation, even deprivation of life. It is. For this reason, the word forensic is associated with deaths. And although not anymore, let's begin. The forum, Romano, la essence remains the same: search the truth to do justice. In Mexico, as in other places in the world, its use is extended with the development of forensic medicine and criminalistics as a set of sciences and disciplines that attend to justice. Astonishes you by revealing the first comprehensive study, lifeless body, be the 14th century. Subscribe and explore how science evolved over time, using the 19th century as a groundbreaking transition from intuition to structured methodologies. Crimes were no longer solved by confessions alone, or witnesses began to be analyzed with standards, rules, instruments, and methods repeatable to the pons. Bertillon in France created the first identification system, criminal based on body measurements, anthropometry. Shortly afterwards, Francis Dalton in England. Would it prove that the prints? Fingerprints were unique e unalterable. In the meantime, both Hans Gross, Austrian judge. Would you put all that knowledge together? Disperse it in one. Concept of Criminalistics in 1893. Public, the manual book of the investigating judge, a pioneering work that he taught to observe the crime scene, preserve clairvoyance, and apply science. Instead of assumptions, at the end of the 19th century, the prints were already classified. The scene was. I documented and science began to look closely. Even the invisible. Because at this time the crime stopped to hide. And the truth began to leave a footprint. In Europe, criminalistics was already taking shape. In Mexico, process was different but equally transcendent. In the beginning of the 20th century, the Mexican justice system still relied on confessions, ministerial declarations, and little preservation of physical evidence was in 1910 with the Mexican Revolution underway. The state embarked on professionalizing criminal investigation, starting in 1928 with the founding of the School of Legal and Criminalistics Medicine under the Forensic Medical Institute of the Federal District. In 1940, Dr. Alfonso Quiroz Cuarón, regarded as Mexico's father of criminalistics, championed the integration of science into crime investigations. It introduces the scientific method, the systematic observation of the place, of the facts, and proposes the formation of specialized experts. Over time, Mexico develops expert bodies, criminalistic laboratories and units, specialized in ballistics, graphoscopy, fingerprinting, toxicology, and much more. Today, criminalistics in Mexico is an essential part of the criminal justice system, with an increasingly scientific, technical, interdisciplinary, and human approach. Because solving a crime is not, it's just a matter of law. It is a debate of science and pure truth, as once deliberated in the Roman Forum, even the most laboratories. Modern criminalistics has been a bridge between crime and truth, a path built with questions, observation. Now more than ever, clarity and cutting-edge science drive criminal investigations. Crime is not fought with force, you know. Gain insights using scientific approaches and methodologies, and if you find me likable, explore more. Do you want to understand how I know? Investigate it. Invisible how I know. Read it. Sen, how they... Hint, are you? Step into the optimal environment. Welcome the illuminating light of science as it reveals truths and clarifies the mysteries behind criminality. Subscribe, though. Click on the magnifying glass, that is, on the bell, share and join me in discovering how criminalistics can change the way you see the world.